Welcome to T-Smack, home of the T-Smack. May I take your order?
Hello there, and welcome to an all-new episode of Talking Smack, where we talk superheroes, movies, animation, comics, and much, much more. I am your host, Josh Scar, and joining me as always is my co-host, Alex. Alex, how are you doing today?
I'm just mad at you. Just straight mad. I feel like the time that I was duped into seeing Gladiator 2 while you went and saw Wicked.
I'm pretty sure I was like, let's just do Wicked. I have no interest in Gladiator 2. And you were like, I have no interest in Wicked, so I'll go see Gladiator 2 and we'll do a cross review and invite Justin on because he likes musicals and bad movies.
Oh, it's been a day. The best part of my theater experience today was seeing the Wicked for Good. Is that what it's called?
Yes, Wicked for Good.
Trailer. And my friend who loves a theater is sitting next to me and went, none of that shit was in the second act of that play.
Most of the dialogue, no, but there were some things, and they've got to pad it out because the second half of that play is like 35 minutes.
But it looks fun. I gotta admit, I am kind of excited.
It looks really good. I'm very excited for Wicked for Good. Like, there's no reason for this that first movie to be as good as it is. Like, that's what I said in my review back in November, and I still say it. Like, there's no reason that movie should be as good as it was and is. And hopefully Wicked for Good is going to be just as good. Hopefully like 20 minutes shorter or maybe a bit less, but still hopefully holds up in quality.
Oh, I hope so too. But there is the issue where you can tell they don't quite have the bangers that they do in the first half because they're like more alluding to songs and Dorothy and all that stuff. Like oh yeah, the Wizard of Oz. You remember?
They're doing I'm off to see the wizard. Like, no, yes, we know it's Wizard of Oz, but like, you don't have to do that. You're better than that, aren't you? But then I remembered that this is a Universal property and Universal is owned by Comcast, and Comcast fucking sucks.
They can go to hell.
Right
to hell.
Before we get into anything, I just have to get this off my chest. I made a deal with the devil and I switched my internet providers to Comcast 2 weeks ago now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Day one, I get an email saying, hey, we need to bury your line. Please give us a call at this number and fill out this survey because we need to make sure everything's up to date. Common sense would say you make some kind of like linkable survey where you can update it and submit it, right? No. Comcast, being the geniuses that they fucking are, they make you have to contact their customer service line or their chat. Their automated assistant in both avenues is just complete waste of time. I spent 20 minutes with the automated assistant on the phone because I'm like, I need to bury my line. Give me to whoever's going to bury my line. Okay, I can definitely help with that. Please let me know where you want to go. I don't fucking know. None of the options you gave me work with burying my line. Is that technical support? Is that activation? No, my line is activated. It was literally activated today. The only thing that I have to do left is bury the goddamn line. I can't get a hold of anyone, so I go and get on the chat. And the chat has an automated assistant. How can I help you? I would like a live agent, please. I can definitely help you with that. Please let me know where I can direct your question to. I don't fucking know. It's going to a buried line. Tell me who I need to go to bury my line. Oh, I can definitely direct you where you need to go. Please let me know what you need help with. Burying my fucking line. It took me another 20 minutes with the automated assistant online to get a live person. And then that live person sat down with me, whatever they were doing, whoever they are, and they're like, hey, do you want to add an extra like 100 megs to your internet data plan for an extra $10? You're already paying so much money. How about an extra $10? And I'm like, I literally activated service 10 hours ago and you're trying to upsell me? Fuck you. And they're just like, oh, hey, yeah, no, I understand. Cool. Whatever, man. How are you interested in our unlimited data service? It's free. You don't even have to change your provider. I'm like, okay, if it's free, sure. Why not? Sends me a link to verify that I'm a human being. Okay, yep. Sends me a second link for payment information. I'm like, fuck you. No, That means this is a timed free service and you left out how long that time frame is. Fuck you. Move on with our lives, please. I'm done with this. And the guy rebuts me like 6 times. He's like, are you sure you can just cancel it when the year is up? No, I don't want to have to come back and cancel it because you're banking on me not remembering. Fuck you. Move on. Okay, but I just want to let you know it's free for 12 months. Like you didn't mention that initially, and now I don't want to. Move on. Okay, are you sure? It's 12 months of free unlimited data. You don't even have to change your provider. Fuck you. Move on. Respect my no. I know you work for Comcast. It's an MLM. Move the fuck on. And so finally, the guy goes, okay, yeah, what did you need help with? I got a survey that says I need to bury my line, but I need to answer some information about my area. So I need to answer these questions to make sure your information is correct so you don't like cut the invisible fence that I have for my dog. Okay, I can take care of that, sure. Are you sure you're not interested in the 12 months of free data? No, I'm not. Please update my fucking survey. Okay, yeah, it'll take just a few minutes. Okay, 15 minutes later, after already having 30 minutes of my time wasted by this guy trying to rebut me in his MLM scheme with Comcast, he finally goes, okay, I've updated your information. Thank you. Anything else I can help you with? Click. Fuck you. I'm done. Sorry if you hear my dog barking. It's 4th of July when we're recording and there's fireworks going off and she's going insane now. Or maybe it's me going insane because I'm yelling at this point. I've been triggered for like a fucking week because of this. So I get an email earlier this week saying, hey, please make sure this information is updated. And it's all no's again. I throw my hands up. I'm like, maybe it's just a standardized email. And I'm hoping this dude told me the truth after wasting an hour of my fucking time. They arrive on Wednesday and I walk into my garage and I hear my invisible fence beeping. That means they cut my line because there's no longer a closed circuit. I call Comcast. Takes me 20 minutes to get through their automated system, because I can't even say retention anymore and they won't let me get to someone. How the hell does a company get as big as Comcast and you can't say retention or live agent and you can't get a hold of someone? You're just stuck in a loop with an automated assistant. It's asinine. So I get a hold of someone finally after 3 attempts to call because I soft lock myself in the automated assistant. And this person's like, oh, we have to have our promo team reach out to you because we'll prorate this because it's going to cost me $150 to get my invisible fence fixed because they charge us for this shit. So I'm like, okay, when are they going to call me? Because I work these hours and I know you're Comcast and your hours are probably like, we're available from noon to 1. We'll try and call you then. I'm like, no, that's not going to work because I don't get cell reception at work. So you need to have someone reach out to me at this time. Otherwise, I'm not going to get reception to answer your call. And they go, okay, yeah, we'll have someone reach out at like 8 a.m. That sounds fine. We can do that. The next day rolls by, no answer. I have a little bit of time in between segments of my work. So I hop on the phone. I get soft locked again 3 times, 15 minutes between each call. So like 5 minutes of each call get soft locked because I'm like just trying to get to a real person and be like, can you transfer me to where I need to go? Finally, I get a hold of Justin. And he is just the best Comcast customer service rep I have ever dealt with. Literally, not being facetious here or sarcastic. He's like, oh, no, that wouldn't go to the promo team. We would just have a damage claim submitted for you and we would either reimburse you or we would cover the cost for it. That's all it would be. And I'm like, thank you. I'm sorry for being escalated, but the automated assistant fucking sucks. And the last person I spoke to lied to me. The last 2 people I spoke to lied to me, and I've only had service for 13 days. Dealing with your customer service is a pain in the ass, but thank you for being a decent human being that actually works for Comcast. I'm sure you'll be fired for being nice to me. So I'm waiting for a response, and I submitted the chat. I made sure to get the chat transcript to show that this guy lied to me. So I have no faith in what's going on, but I'm very escalated, and what we're doing today only seems to further my agitation with Comcast, and it's going to show, I promise. But we're going to hear after all that, we're already we're 10 minutes into recording. We're going to hear from our friends, Josh and Amanda Wilson over at Super Familiar with the Wilsons. When we come back, Alex and I are going to rage at the latest Jurassic Park. It's not Jurassic Park. Fuck Comcast and their branding. I don't even know what to call this movie. It's not a Jurassic anything movie. Yeah. We'll get into it after we hear from Josh and Amanda. I'm sorry, Josh and Amanda. We're not dealing with you. We love you. We'll see you in a second.
Yes.
The Super Familiar with the Wilsons podcast. You know that family whose house you hung out in when you were a kid? The house was a little loud and chaotic, but always fun, and sometimes felt more home than home. Well, that's us.
We're the Wilsons, and we welcome you into our podcast with silly chat, ridiculous games, and interviews with interesting people.
Like a spin doctor. The super familiar with the Wilsons podcast.
Welcome home.
What I wouldn't give to listen to the Spin Doctors right now instead of having to talk about this movie, which, like, I know we're doing it voluntarily. No one's paying us to do this.
No,
but we've put ourselves in a box by saying we're content creators and putting out a weekly podcast, and like we like to talk blockbuster movies and all these things. And this movie's on pace to make $130+ million at the global box office, or is that just the domestic box office?
That's just domestic.
That's just as insane as anything Comcast tries to push on people. I don't understand it. This movie should be tanking, let alone doing well or not doing well. I don't even know how to phrase it. This movie has like broken my brain. I don't even know where to start. Like, maybe we start with where the movie kind of starts, which is a perfect metaphor for where this franchise is.
I don't even think the movie knew where to start.
The movie has no script. It's like they had sequences written out for the next Jurassic movie, and then they just went, well, we have to do something with this IP. We can't just let it sit here for 3 years after the last movie. We have to do something. So they kind of touch on the idea that Jurassic World, dinosaurs are living in the real world now amongst people. But climate change is happening, and so they're all dying. And now we've solved that problem. We don't have to deal with the Jurassic World implication anymore, air quotes on world. But the movie opens with a perfect metaphor of a giant, like Apatosaurus or Brontosaurus or Brachiosaurus, whatever, like one of the long neck sauropods are, is just in the middle of New York, like just under the George Washington Bridge, dying. And they've got like a crane trying to lift its head to get it to like stand up on its own and move. And it's just like, oh, this is what Comcast is doing to this franchise. It's just trying to keep this thing on life support and squeeze whatever it can out of it.
I would be remiss if I did not tell you that's actually not how the movie started. The movie started with a black screen that said 17 years ago. And we got the weirdest, worst product placement for Snickers I've seen in my life.
Dumbest prologue ever. And then it only makes the entire setup of Jurassic World's infrastructure all the worse, because full spoilers for this movie can't really be spoiled other than the stupid minutia that is within these sequences of events that happen that create this 2 hour and 15-minute monstrosity. The movie opens with the most deserving death I have ever seen in a Jurassic Park movie, a Jurassic movie, whatever you want to call them. This asshole scientist is rushing out and he's like, oh man, I'm hungry. I'm not myself when I'm hungry. I better get a Snickers. He like gullets a Snickers real quickly and he drops the wrapper. You've probably worked here for a while. You've been vetted. You should know. You probably understand that there is protocol that there's probably a fucking trash can. It's Comcast. Yep. There has to be a trash can because that's where they file all their complaints, is the fucking trash can. There is no reason this asshole, this supposed person, would just drop the wrapper in front of everyone in this white room. Like, this is like a sterile room. People are in masks. People are in like head to toe PPE. And this guy's in a space suit, an oxygen suit. And he's just like, hold on, I got to go at this Snickers. Okay, I'm ready to go. Where can I put my wrapper? I could even tuck it in my suit. Nope, I'm just going to drop it. And through a sequence of events, this wrapper gets
sucked into
pressurized into a door or into like an area. And then there's a circuit breaker inside another door.
Yes.
But
yes.
I guess there's internal cooling fans that suck the wrapper into it. And it shuts down it shorts out the entire system of Jurassic World.
Yeah,
spared no expense.
No. You get a nice
broke
flashy.
The entire fucking system. Like that's what Justin probably did when he filed a complaint for me with my damage claim. He probably broke the entire Comcast system, which is why I haven't heard from them yet. And yes, I'm going to be making more Comcast comments throughout the rest of this show.
That's fine. So he's at the door. The sequencing for him and this other person, because they have to do a turnkey, to go into this section that does the whole like blow on them to like disinfect them, so they can go into this other set of doors that lead to the D-Rex. And it sucks the wrapper. So the wrapper gets pulled into the first room, which I'm like, okay, that kind of makes sense. You know, you have that negative space, that negative pressure suction. But yeah, there's apparently fans on the bottom of these automated closing doors that it gets sucked into, short circuits. That creates a warning to everyone else, letting them know that containment has failed, and then therefore it disables all locks and everything. And so the entire system fails. Mind you, the next sequence was actually one I particularly enjoyed. Everyone's panicking. They're starting to take off, even though I'm like, this is incredibly stupid. And we get the spoiler from the trailer where a guy is in a dark room and you see the bulbous head of the alien.
He's
Godzilla.
the Dementus Rex, which is what the D actually stands for, but it's dumb. Like it's dumb. The entire final act of this movie is not real dinosaurs, or even just like the ones that the Jurassic franchise presents to us as dinosaurs. It's just all hybrids and mutated dinosaurs that they created either by accident or intentionally, which again, like they try to hand brush it away of like, well, people got bored with dinosaurs, so now we have to make monsters because what else are we going to do with our millions of dollars?
Everyone's running away. The person he went in there with, she gets out. He shuts the door behind her. He goes up to it saying, you know, help me. They put the key in, but the D-Rex is already there. Slowly grabs, consumes him, cuts to like a blood red Jurassic Park logo and says present day. And then this is the part that made me so mad. The Jurassic World movies, the trilogy had led with the idea that, okay, there's a new park. Then the second one is getting them off because they're being sold privately or moved to other parks. And then the third one is
being militarized as well.
Yeah. And the third one is now they're just out in the entire world. Like some of them are where Chris Pratt lives, where it's cold, where there's like, you know,
but they're like adapting because life finds a way. Like that's the theme of Jurassic Park is life finds a way.
Yeah, and then now it is that no, the park's gone. The dinosaurs actually can't adapt, and they've all moved to a small part of the equator. They tell us this in these black title boxes. You know,
they tell us no fewer than 3 times before we get to the island as well.
Yeah. And then they tell us again, like over the radio, and with the whole Comcast metaphor. And then they tell them again to Zora Bennett, which is the most movie name for a mercenary I've ever heard in my life. You're like, yep, that's a fake movie name, Zora Bennett. And then it's told again at apparently no one goes to the Natural History Museum anymore because they're literally closing down all dinosaur exhibits, despite everything we have seen leading up to that. They're on dinosaurs are on TV, like with cartoons. Dinosaurs are on this. Dinosaurs are on like walls for like baseball teams. Dinosaurs are, you know, there's that dying dinosaur in the street, and yet, no, they're closing it down. And what do we have? The perfect metaphor for this franchise not having any original ideas. Because there's a T-Rex skeleton hanging up, and they're literally lowering down when dinosaurs ruled the earth. Because the exhibit is
reference.
gone.
Get it, Alex? It's an Easter egg that they put in the trailers. I called it out when we talked about the first trailer. I was like, oh, it's a nice little reference. There's so many references that they try to just dopamine your brain because you're like, I saw the thing and it reminded me of a better thing. My brain is happy. Don't fall for that shit. Like that's like AI slop rotting your brain. Just recognize it for what it is. It's manipulation, it's stupidity. And to your point about Zora Bennett, Scarlett Johansson's character, I feel like that's an overcorrection because no one remembered Owen and Claire's name from the Jurassic movie or the Jurassic World movies. Because everyone's just like, oh, it's Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. Like, what were their character names again?
Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt, yeah. Star-Lord and Gwen Stacy. Like, that's who they are. Mm-hmm. I feel like they went, okay, well, no one remembers Owen and Claire, so let's go to the other end of the alphabet and we'll do Zora and Loomis and other names that are weird and wacky, and we'll say them a lot.
Yeah. By the way, I completely called it to my friend that I went to the movies with when a certain we'll get to it in a moment, but a certain character dies, and I just looked at her and I went, "That's the first time anyone has said her name this entire movie." because we have Scarlett Johansson as a lead, therefore we don't need to name any other female character at all in this. Well,
that is over the age of 22.
Yes, that's over the age of 22 because like we have one woman over the age of 22. We have our representation. No other women need to be named in this movie. I'm like, Jesus, man. Ugh.
Were you surprised by the random Ed screen?
I was incredibly surprised by the random Ed screen.
But were you surprised once you realized he's the asshole that's destined to die next?
Okay, so I will contend with you. I do have an argument about that. I think was it you or Justin Hisson from the Movie Wire in our chat that said the two most deserving deaths in the movie franchise?
Yeah, the first two deaths in this movie are like the most deserving deaths in all of the Jurassic franchise.
Ed Screen did not deserve to die. That the first, okay?
Oh,
Xavier Xavier deserved to die first.
Is that the insurance guy or who's Xavier?
Xavier is lazy bro dude who has no actually redemption arc.
Oh, teenage boyfriend dude.
Yeah, with no redemption arc, even though the dad at the end gives approval.
That's another fantastic point because all of these characters are Paddingtons in the sense that they don't have a character arc at all. No. Like even Scarlett Johansson's character is presented as having a character arc, but she doesn't. Her entire premise is, I'm going to get rich doing this mission. It's my last mission ever. I'll make $10 million or $100 million. Like they're kind of vague on how much money she's getting because they're like a 10 with 6 zeros. And she goes, is that including the one in the 10? And they go, It's like, okay, well, that's math. This movie is breaking my brain with math and in the dumbest way possible, just like anything that Comcast tries to do with my bill. Her entire arc is she wants to make so many millions of dollars and she can retire and she can just go do whatever she wants from that point on. And then she meets up with handsome Dr. Man Loomis, who is Fiyero from Wicked and Mr. Bridgerton. And he this movie broke my brain. That fucking Altoid gag is so fucking annoying, and like not even in the way that they're trying to play it off as a joke, because there's the point where they do the whole like, Dr. Loomis, we need you to come join us. I can practically guarantee your safety. Oh geez, what do you mean practically? I don't understand. You can't fully guarantee my safety when we're going to deal with dinosaurs? Oh my god. No, I can't. It's dinosaurs, you dumbass. Okay, well, I need to think it over. Okay, let me crunch on my Altoids, because that's how you eat fucking Altoids, is you chomp them, and they make the loudest fucking crunch forever. Are they like a recycling Altoid? I don't understand that gag at all. When you stop to think about how an Altoid works if you're chomping on it, how big is that fucking Altoid? And then they pull it off again, or they try to, when they're seeing the Titanosauruses, whatever you want to call them. Scarlett Johansson's just standing in a field and quiet, and then you hear the crunch, and then he's just in there crunching on another Altoid. And it's, how loud of a chewer is this man that he can break an Altoid and it just shakes the world? What the fuck is wrong with the people making this movie?
Well, I did laugh a little bit at the Altoid gag because
I literally shook my head and I was like, if they do that one more time, I'm fucking leaving. And I apologize for all the swearing in this episode because Comcast has me triggered, as I have said.
So Zora is hired by evil pharmaceutical
man,
Rupert Friend, who I realize Rupert Friend is looking more and more like Orlando Bloom these days, or Orlando Bloom is aging into him.
I thought he was looking a lot like, who's the other guy that looks like Orlando Bloom from the Hobbit movies? He's also in the Fast and Furious movies. He was Gaston in the live action.
Yeah, that guy. One of the attractive dwarfs.
No. He was Bard.
Oh, yeah.
I want, not Lucas. What the hell is his name? Luke Evans, yeah. So for some reason, his entire plan is to hire Zora Bennett because this paleontologist doctor who, by the way, interned under Dr. Alan Grant. And they give you that information halfway through the movie. So that way you're like, oh, I knew I liked this guy for a reason. And not just because he's handsome and he's good at everything, despite being a nerd and being hesitant on things every now and again.
He has an idea that if they get the blood from the 3 largest dinosaurs, one from water, land, and air. I was really hoping that someone said and fire, just to like complete.
But then one day everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
Exactly.
And it could have been the D-Rex. The D-Rex could have been the Firebender.
They needed it because they know that the larger the dinosaur, the longer they live, because the larger the heart. Therefore, they will take this blood and it can be easily synthesized and it will cure heart failure. You know what? That kind of makes sense, but why does a paleontologist think of that? So they have to go to the secret, spooky, scary island because, by the way, in case no one told you, the dinosaurs have all begun to die and move south to the equator. That's all where they are now. And they're all concentrated in a few islands, which, by the way, this is not Isla Snora. This is not Isla Nubar. This is another new island. They had another secret island where they made all these spooky, scary stuff. And that's where they have to go. And that's the entire story. They go there and they collect the Pokemon. And so Mahershala Ali is her friend, and so is Ed Skrein is also her friend, also mercenaries. And then 2 people they never name other than they're French. That's the only introduction because Duncan Kincaid says at one point, "No speaking French to me before I've had my coffee." That's and 2 other randos, which you're like, yeah, they're immediately gonna die. But as you said, I was surprised that on the first person to die is Ed Skrein.
The minute he was like oogling that gun and he's like, oh, neurotoxin, these dinos are gonna die. Look at how tight my shirt is. I was like, he's dead. He's dying very quickly.
Which kind of disappointing because if anyone deserved to die first, it was either obviously the evil pharmaceutical sales rep or bro boyfriend. Because
see, bro boyfriend he's the redemption arc, but at the same time he's not, because again, Paddingtons, they pay that off because dad and his eldest daughter is like, what do you see in him? I don't understand. He's a dick. And she goes, you don't see what I see in him. It's his dick. I'm paraphrasing there, but there are like little snippets here and there where he like lets a little bit of his guard down, or he like reveals some of that side that she sees. So it's not really character growth. It's just moments. And then he's right back to being his regular himbo stoner self. And he also happened to find a shirt while he was drowning.
Yeah.
When the mosasaur attacked.
Yeah. Which, by the way, that would be Teresa, the older of the 2 siblings. She wasn't the one who said it was his dick. The little girl did.
Oh, that's right. I wasn't even paraphrasing. I was just combining a joke that the little girl made. The 9-year-old girl that's like, yeah, my sister fucks.
Yeah. So the mercenaries and this family who apparently sail from across the Atlantic every few years, their worlds collide with the mosasaurs because their ship gets knocked over. They're floating in the ocean, sending a mayday. No one's coming to help them. So that's when we get the, Ed Skrein deserves to die moment, because he's like, well, why don't we get the mosasaur blood first and then we'll go save the people? And everyone's like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Except for Duncan Kincaid. He's like, no, we're going to save them first. So that was the decision. They're 2 minutes away from their target, but they're going to sail like 2 hours away to go save these people. And that's why Ed Skrein deserves to die.
Well, he said it was like 28 miles, which I would assume in a boat, it's not too dissimilar from a car. So 28 miles is maybe an hour.
High speeds on a boat's like 35. So it's like an hour and a half, maybe 2. Because I don't
an
know.
hour there, an hour back. Plus you have to account for the detour of the mosasaur attack. So maybe it is 3 hours, but
but that's it. That's the only reason
their
he died.
timetable doesn't really matter.
No. And I hated everything about the interaction with that family joining the mercenary groups, because you just got saved and then they're constantly questioning the mercenaries, like, what are you guys doing out here? Why are you doing anything? What's going on? What's happening here? Why would you do something like that? And then trying to which, by the way, so the reason why pharmaceutical sales rep deserves to die is during the mosasaur attack.
Well, he's a pharmaceutical rep, among other things.
Course,
it's probably employed by Comcast. So therefore, he's just the worst.
Yeah. And so there's this interaction where the dad tells the older daughter, go yell Mayday into the boat, into the system, when no one of the mercenaries is doing that because they're handling the shit. The sales rep stops her. The boat gets hit. She slides out of a door to an area where the railing's completely broken off. And she's saying, help me. And you do get the close up of him going like, fuck, I'm going to help you. You're trying to ruin our plans here. But he doesn't kick her. He doesn't shove her off. He doesn't do anything. She just falls off naturally on her own. And it's not like he stood up and just lorded over her. He was still on his back, like trying to like hold on because the boat was tipping.
Yeah.
And I hated that was apparently enough of a glance that she believes he intentionally tried to let her die. And then everyone at the end of the movie turns against him. That's not enough motivation to me. That's like, I'm not saying I would do that, but I'm like, the movie needed to do something more other than like close up of him going, huh? Like, I need more than that.
You can see it in his face that he's just like, I don't have to save her.
Yeah, that's
and
it.
He's like, I won't save her. Like, that's all it is he's making a decision of, I'm not going to move because the boat is practically at a 90-degree angle, or I guess it would maybe be a 180-degree angle. I don't know. The boat is more or less on its side. And he's like, I can't grab her. And if I try to, I'm going to die. I'm not going to do that. And so, yeah, there's this whole subplot of Teresa being like, I'm going to kill that guy because he tried to kill me, but he really didn't. He more or less made a decision of, I'm not going to save her, which Batman did. And everyone loves Batman.
Exactly. And then the weird, I don't want to rewatch this movie, but then somehow Zora knows, because like, so what happened with her falling off the railing there? Like, you both were in that area. And it's like, first off, there was no railing anymore. And second off, oh, you're going to let him die because if you find something out, like, that entire plot annoyed me. Everything leading up to separating the mercenaries, because there is a Spinosaur Monosaurus attack that happens that causes chaos. The family of four, which is the dad, Xavier, Teresa, and
Isabella,
Bella, he calls her, all decide to abandon ship when the plan is we're powering the boat into the shallows to get away from them because they're too big to hang out in the shallows, especially one's a mostly sea creature. And they all bail and abandon ship. And so does like one or two other people. And the boat just crashes into the rocks and it's fine. And I'm like, this is the worst run mercenary group I've seen in my life. You guys go at like 50 miles an hour into the rocks. Nobody dies other than Ed Skrein. Ed Skrein died because we have to recreate the death scene from the beginning of Jurassic Park 1, because Easter egg, where he dies because he
even though it's likely a non-union guy he's being devoured by a velociraptor that's gone insane with power. And Ed Skrein is a guy who's being eaten by a dinosaur that is just living its life, hunting as it will. And he's like, I'm going to kill all these dinosaurs because I have neurotoxin and I'm going on a big power trip. And I'm Ed Skrein, so my weird teeth are going to make everyone hate me anyway.
And let's not forget the most important part of this.
He also had sex with a tentacle monster in Rebel Moon.
Yes. Part 2, watch the the unrated extended version. That's where you get all the tentacle sex.
You know what?
Impressive.
I bet you that Spinosaur that got him was actually an alimony lawyer just trying to get him served for his tentacle monster girlfriend. While we're speaking of the boat sequence, which surprisingly that was the start of the adventure. Like, that's what kicks everything off. The trailers keep putting that at the end, like it's a big thing. Part of it is also, I don't give a shit about the mosasaur. It was an addition into Jurassic World that, yeah, it's a big fish dinosaur, cool, but I have no attachment to the mosasaur as a dinosaur, so like I don't give a shit about it. And they keep making this big deal out of the mosasaur, and they try to kind of do a Jaws reference with the whole bow of the ship thing and Scarlett Johansson being locked in at the front. There's stuff there that could have worked, especially if you did make it like a Jaws sequence instead of it just being this bombastic, like, oh, she almost fell off, oh, she's back on. Like, the other person who was sitting 2 feet next to her did not fall at all, but she got flipped upside down and almost got eaten 3 times. But whatever, that person had magnet boots or something. During that boat sequence, the dad also gets his knee twisted, And after they right the ship and they're hanging out for a second before the Spinosaurus come back for a second attack, he's like, my knee, I can't use it. And then 2 seconds later, he's walking around and he's swimming. And there's an entire probably 15-minute sequence where he's mostly fine. And then events happen and he's like, I need a walking stick. Everyone should get a walking stick. And then he starts walking like House from House MD, where he's using the cane wrong because you don't support the knee by like keeping the cane in step with it. There's so many things wrong with this movie. And a big part of it is there's no tension anywhere. All the action sequences are in the movie that are in the, obviously they're in the movie. They're in the trailer. Every single action sequences and like the high points of those sequences are all in the trailer. The only thing you don't get is like the fine details of things, like the Quetzalcoatlus sequence, the big bird pterosaur sequence. The only thing you need to know is that it looks like one of the Skeksis from the Dark Crystal. And the sequence is more or less over. And that's also when they try to pass off Loomis as for being as good as he is at everything. Scarlett Johansson's like, hey, you're a little bit of an adrenaline junkie, huh? Like, that's supposed to make everything okay, that he's this nerdy paleontologist who studied under Alan Grant, but he's also an American Ninja Warrior because we need him to be able to survive this movie.
This is the part that actually started that I realized I was, well, no, but I'm backing up slightly. The family gets separated and I'm like, no one in that family is going to die. That's just not how these movies work. We are now at the point where maybe some of these people are going to die from the mercenary group. Ed Skrein gets eaten. Zora's alive. Duncan Mahershala Ali is alive. Of course, the pharmaceutical sales rep's alive because he has to be saved to killed at the end.
He's the bad guy. He's the big bad guy. Yeah, he has to get the big comeuppance at the end.
Cutie falling in love paleontologist is going to live. And then we have 2 people left. One, a lady with tattoos who speaks French that they've never said her name. And they're washed up on the beach. And to remind them that the Spinosaurus are not quite done, as she is like grabbing this massive crate of stuff, dragging up onto the beach, she gets eaten. And
somewhat off screen as well. Like it's very tame.
You see it kind of like pop up in the background. Then the big crate gets dragged away.
And they pull off that trick with like almost every dino scare for the rest of the movie. It's like the off-screen explosion to transfer out of a sequence in Aquaman. In this case, they show like slightly off center from camera. A dinosaur rolls over, and that's going to be the dinosaur it's going to magically come back on screen and take someone out or attack and have a sequence. They do that like 4 times.
And we get this very dramatic moment with Leclerc, I think is the name. Were they lovers? Were they friends? I don't know, but like her like bloody bandana rolls up on the beach and he grabs it from the water and he squeezes it and blood's running down his hands like, I will avenge you. No, he dies later.
He gets eaten by the Quetzalcoatlus.
Yeah, because of course he's not important. He's not one of the main ones. Which is that is what really is starting to bother me about these films, is that in the 90s, you could have a big name in a film and they were fodder. And the 2 references would be Scream 1 with Drew Barrymore was touted as like one of the leads of that film. And she is often in the beginning of the movie. And then the other one is Executive Decision with Steven Seagal. Steven Seagal used to be actually important before he decided to apparently become Russian. Because he was a big 90s action star, and he was in the trailers, the poster first build, and he gets offed at the first action sequence of that movie, which a lot of people are pissed about. But as soon as these people started showing up, I was just like, none of these people are going to die. I have no stakes for this movie. We do get a few fun little gags here and there, but at the same time, it just there's nothing to this movie. There's
no tension. No. You can pick it up. You can figure out everything that's happening. And for a kid, there are sequences that can be pretty intense and scary.
Oh, yeah.
Like my oldest wanted to come with me to go see this. And I thought the riverboat sequence would be an interesting metric for how they handle the intense kid and danger stuff. But later in the movie, when the Mutodons show up, I'm like, I'm glad that my kid didn't show up, because for a kid, this is probably pretty intense and scary. As an adult, I'm just sitting here going, no one's in danger. There's no weight to anything that's happening All the action sequences have no stakes. It's all there for the spectacle of showing off these dinosaurs. And the visual effects of this movie make Quantum Mania look like a best VFX contender.
Yeah, there is
The
some
budget
weirdness.
for the VFX in this are awful. The main one I have to go back to is the raft sequence before we get to the river sequence, where Teresa is pulling this inflatable raft from a lodge next to a sleeping T-Rex, the only T-Rex we see in the movie, and she inflates it, and the thing inflates at a 90-degree angle for some reason, like straight up in the air on its side, and a really badly rendered CGI raft then falls to its side very loudly, and this sleeping enormous T-Rex is now just out of the picture. Like Chris Angel or David Blaine came and did some mind freakiness and just disappeared this thing. And so she gets the raft in the thing in the water, but like the CGI for that, it's so unnecessary. You mean to tell me you couldn't rig a regular raft to just inflate on its side and drop over? You had to waste hundreds of thousands of dollars for a practical effect that probably would have cost you maybe tens of thousands of dollars. I don't understand what they were doing with this other than Comcast is trying to burn money for tax reasons.
Oddly enough, that raft sequence was probably my favorite part of the movie because the family unit is trying to get away. They got told by pharmaceutical sales rep, "Oh, we're going to drop you off on the island near the village where you can call out. You're not going to come with us on our mission. We're just going to take you somewhere safe to drop you off." So they know there's a village, so they're following like thermal pipes. And the reason why I like
which thankfully they're following them the right way.
Yes. The reason why I like that sequence is because it's one of the unused things from the original book, which is it's a much larger sequence. It's more, I think there's more depth and fear to it because it's a book. But we got to see a sleeping T-Rex listing in the sun like my cat does in a sunbeam. And I was like, oh, the T-Rex is adorable. It's on its side and now it rolls on its back and its big old belly and it rolls over. It's like its mouth opens and a yawn. I'm like, oh, you're so cute. Please eat, Savior. Please eat that guy. I'm really tired of his pot jokes and his laziness. And there's nothing redeeming about him at all.
There's not. And yet he survives.
And then I thought the raft sequence was pretty fun, other than I started realizing that they were just trying to recreate the T-Rex attack from the first film, because at one point Isabella is stuck in it and the raft has flipped over and then a T-Rex tries to bite it and you see its teeth descend through it like it did in the car.
I thought that was a cool shot.
It was a very cool shot.
I will give the cinematographer and the VFX team credit for that shot. It's a good moment in an otherwise just atrocious movie.
And the way they had it swimming through the water and the rapids and stuff, and the way it was kind of hunting and stalking them, it would pop up and back down. I thought that was fun. I thought it was a good time. I enjoyed that. But like you said, the Quetzalcoatl sequence where they're repelling, there's nothing interesting. The movie, I thought for a moment, was going to go somewhere very interesting, because they rappel down and they go into, looks like on the sheer side of a cliff, there is like some kind of native markings of some temple that was built, and they never explain it. They never address any of it. I thought they were going to, because up at the top, pharmaceutical sales rep and Duncan were there and they see stairs leading down and he's going to call them over.
It's literally just a way to keep the CinemaSins guys from dinging them for like, how do those guys get down to the bottom of the cliff so quickly?
Oh, there were stairs, because then they come out like the opening at the bottom of the temple. They say that sheer cliff is like 500 and something feet tall. So, okay, I want to know what kind of complex is in there, but no, that's it. They just go in there, they extract what they need from it. One guy gets token eaten, which is really sad. You know, like, oh, we have to cast off somebody, so we're going to cast off this person because, you know, they're not on board.
We have two black guys. We can't have two black guys survive. We need to get rid of one.
Yep. And so that guy gets getting rid of, and then they make their way down. They never explain what the ruins are. They never explain why they're there. They never explain the culture was there. Nope. It's just all done. They've collected air, land, and sea, because they try to recreate the original scene from Jurassic Park with the Brontosaurus, but with Titanosaurus, which that was kind of cool-ish, I guess.
The Titanosaurus sequence pissed me off so bad because we are halfway through the movie at this point, and one, they bring back that stupid Altoid joke, and two, there's a conveniently placed hill that's hiding hundreds of titanosaurs, and two of them just happen to like roll over and decide like, oh hey, let's start necking and acting all in love. And then you hear that mana, mana, mana. You hear the Jurassic Park theme, and there's no awe. There's nothing in this movie that it's they do it twice. The first, when they're on the boat, Zora and Loomis, Scarlett Johansson and Fierro, I don't know Mr. Bridgerton's name, they're sitting on the boat just kind of talking about like, oh, Scarlett Johansson, you're a mercenary. She's like, no, I'm more of a contract by survival and safety, blah, 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 blah. He goes, oh, so you're a mercenary, huh? Okay, that's cool. You're hot. And I'm a nerd, whatever. But there's like this soft theme playing, like almost like they know that people use the Jurassic Park music as a wedding march for some people. And so you hear that like the piano and the strings playing together. It's a really weirdly framed moment because they're just sitting there getting to know each other. They're not even falling in love, but they're playing the theme as if it were Padme's theme or Rey's theme in Star Wars, where they alter the theme to fit a romantic moment or like a moment of self-revelation. But no, it's just this weird moment where they start playing the theme. And then we get to the Titanosaurus sequence, and you see two Titanosauruses just canoodling and having fun. I'm pretty sure the movie is implying that they're having sex, or like they just did, or there's something about the way that shot is framed that it's just like, yeah, they're a mated pair and they love each other, and we're playing the theme again. And then Loomis is like, ha ha ha, 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 they're in love. Woo! I'm gonna go eat a candy. They waste the theme. It's one of the most beautiful movie themes. It's simple, but it's one of the most beautiful movie themes in movie history. And it's just wasted in this movie because they're like, well, we need a moment where we have the theme. People are expecting the theme. Well, what if we have it when the giant long necks are having sex? Well, kids can't watch the dinosaurs have sex, and we don't know how to animate that. So what if they're just necking? Like, what, they're just rubbing their necks together and they're in love, and we'll have them flitter their fins. Yeah, it's just a nice moment, and we'll have that. It's not recreating Dr. Grant and Ellie Sattler seeing a brontosaurus for the first time, like just out of nowhere. It's not recreating anything magical. It's just there because it's a staple of the franchise.
I was slightly amused by it.
I love that theme.
Yeah.
I love it. It is one of my favorite theme songs from a movie ever. But outside of the context of Jurassic Park, 1993, that theme pisses me off because all it's trying to do at any point after that initial moment is evoke that same feeling. And it's so manufactured and forced. And none of it ever since then has felt natural. I can't remember. I don't think The Lost World Jurassic Park uses that theme until the very end of the movie. Which,
they
like,
use
that's
it
fine.
at the very end when they show like all the pterodactyls and stuff flying around. Like, you know, they're free to live their life.
Yeah, that's right. The T-Rexes are back. And like, yeah, okay. Yeah, the dinosaurs are living on their island. They are free essentially, and they're just loving life. Whatever it may be. Perfect. That's fine. Jurassic World, that's probably the moment where I turned on that movie, is where they opened up the doors and you just see this monstrosity of concrete and capitalism that is, look, John Hammond's vision is accomplished, is realized here in Jurassic World. Look at it in all of its splendor and man-made bullshit. And you're not even making a commentary on it. You're not using it in a context that the commentary is saying, like, look at how awful this is. You're just trying to make me feel the way I felt in 1993. And it's not working. You're just making me mad at this point.
The end of the movie is so frustrating because this is when I expected to get on the promise of weird ass dinosaurs. And there's only two. They're called mutodons, which are basically raptors, that
Raptors and
have
pterodons
wings.
mixed
Yeah.
together. Yeah. And I think it's also Gareth Edwards stroking himself a little bit because you have the Mudos from his
Oh my God,
Godzilla
that's
movie
right.
and the Mudodons or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, and then there's the D-Rex,
Use his proper name, please. The Dumb Rex.
the Dumb Rex. And there are moments in that part where I thought were very good. Like that I felt some of the tension. Like Gareth Edwards is a very competent director, knows how to frame a shot. Like when the Mudodon breaks through the ceiling and slithers into the convenience store so they can recreate the kitchen scene from Jurassic Park 1. That was a great shot. That was terrifying. That was very cool looking. When the Mudodon is like not the Mudodon, the Dumb Rex,
Thank you.
anytime it comes out of fog and shadow, it's really great. Like I actually laughed and thought it was really great that the rescue helicopter they thought was circling back to help them, and then you see it actually in its mouth and it crunches. I was like, that's a cool shot. That is well done. You are so good.
Gareth Edwards has gone to the Michael Bay school of the rule of cool. Doesn't matter if the shot makes sense. Does it look cool? Yes, it does. Okay, we'll do it, because there's no reason for that helicopter to be gliding in with the sound of the propeller still going, and then all of a sudden the D-Rex, the Dumb Rex, shows up with it in his mouth, with the motor broken and everything, and we still see like the people are still alive and he's chomping down on it. But
Yeah.
the movie tries to just be like all substance or all spectacle with no substance. But even the spectacle just doesn't work for me, because part of it is the VFX looks so bad.
Which is kind of weird because there are moments where the visual effects look phenomenal. Like that scene with the D-Rex in the helicopter, to me that looked like maybe they had a miniature for that part of that scene that then they went to CGI. But you're right, because the beginning sequence is almost entirely CGI. When they cut to that lab, it's like those are like weird 70s looking cast-offs of like Star Wars or Star Trek like consoles, and you can tell that all the visuals on them of explaining what the park is, this part of the area is CGI'd in later, because it doesn't even, the monitors don't look right, the graphics on them don't. And then there's so many weird moments in this where I want to say some things are practical because I can as Hammond would say, it's something you can touch and feel. But then there's various other parts where I'm like, there's no one in this room with him. And the Quetzalcoatl part is where it was really bad, because you could tell that Zora was not in frame with whatever she was attempting to kick. And then when she does kick it, there's no weight to anything. There's no resistance to anything at all. And I think they really need to go back to the original movie where there was maybe 2.5 minutes of CGI with 15 minutes of dinosaurs, because just telling, poor Scarlett Johansson, like, okay, you're going to get ready and it's going to, okay, and kick, perfect, move on. we'll fix it in post. It's going to be great. But the ending, the ending towards the boat just pissed me off so much, because it's another sequence that was from the original book. In the original book, there is a long sequence where they find out there's tunnels throughout the entire of the park, that the dinosaurs have been using them to get around, and they use these tunnels to get to the ocean because they had called for help from the military. And I'm like, oh, they're actually recreating that again. Cool. I mean, this poor book is bare bones now from how much you guys have scavenged from it over the years for 7, which is impressive that the book, which was pretty faithfully followed in the first movie, has been its carcass chipped away at for 7 movies, and they're still finding gold. And the D-Rex, of course, is the big bad guy, and of course there's a flare, and the boat is trapped. This little dingy boat that they need to get away on is trapped because the hitch is broken. And the solution to fix the hitch is literally hit it with a crowbar until it falls. While poor Mahershala Ali is running away, leading away like Ian.
He's sacrificing himself.
Sacrificing himself.
It's not even Ian being like, I'm going to distract it. You go do your thing. He's hoping to get away. Mahershala Ali as boat captain McGee is like, I'm sacrificing myself. Like his whole personality is, my wife and I had a kid that died. And now there are kids that are on this mission. I will do anything in my power to make sure they stay safe and they get off this island.
Which
that's
is not
his
even
entire. It's not. It's a personality trait that's not even that interesting. He gets chased off by the dumb Rex. We see his flare go out, and this is the part I said there's no stakes in this movie. There aren't, because they start pulling away, and as they're pulling away, Scarlett Johansson is looking back, and she's like, Duncan, no, Duncan. And then in front of them is another flare that goes off, and like, Duncan, he's alive. He got away from the D-Rex off screen, unfazed, unharmed, even though the D-Rex was like bearing down on him. But we can't have the nice guy die. We had the pharmaceutical rep die because he couldn't stop his, what is the low polygon truck? Cybertruck. Yeah. They have Jurassic Park Cybertrucks in this movie as well. But pharmaceutical rep couldn't stop it in time because Cybertrucks suck and they have really bad self-steering. Much like Comcast's virtual assistant. He gets eaten by the D-Rex because he can't stop the car in time, and he rams into it. The D-Rex is like, ooh, lunch. He uses his one good. The Cloverfield design of the D-Rex, along with the very phallic nature of its face, is so disturbing. Like,
yep.
I really want to know who okayed that design. We need a grotesque monster. Well, what if we make him look like a penis? Great. What if we give him a really big, stupid hand along with a couple of small hands, like the Queen alien in Aliens? Okay. What if we also make him walk around like the Cloverfield monster? Sure. Too many things. You get one thing.
It says nothing against the actor, but I read an interview because this movie has been out for 23 hours. So therefore, spoilers are free game for everybody. And originally, Duncan died. That was his arc. But when they cast a famous actor in it, they went, we went back. He was like, we can't kill him. And we went back and rewrote it. Like, that's where the problem with no stakes is. You have a script, and then you go, you know what, we're changing it because no one wants to see Blade die. And it's just so frustrating. Because I was fine with that sacrifice. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. I mean,
it fits with his character. And he is making a sacrifice play. Those always go over well with audiences. It makes sense, but they completely undercut it. He ends up 600 feet in front of them while they're trying to make their way out to the ocean. And even though he was being stared down upon by the dumb Rex, it's just so frustrating that it's such a clear rewrite or get out of jail free card that they just cashed in, because we can't have Academy Award winner Mahershala Ali die in the Jurassic Park movie. What if we want to bring him back for a sequel?
While that's happening, like all in a dock together, because that's such a weird set piece. They're all in this narrow dock together as it ambles up. And he's able to distract it away from the little girl by using the flare because it is attracted to light. And
which is not set up until the very moments before, where there's a warning light happening on top of the control panel that lets the boat down. They're like, it's attracted to the light. I have no way of proving this theory, but we're going to go with it.
Yeah. And then seriously, the way they fix the hoist is she just hits the chain over and over and over again until it finally falls. And as they're starting to get away, because the boat, of course, has lights on it, it just ambles after it and then goes, I'm good, and walks away. So apparently it's very lazy.
Yeah, he's dumb.
Because every other dinosaur we've seen in this movie, they all swim very well. But not the dumb Rex. Apparently dumb Rex with its big arms and and small arms as well, and bulbous head doesn't swim well. But
I mean, with that bulbous head, he's probably part beluga whale.
Yeah, I mean,
he could float. But he's dumb.
Yeah, I just didn't care. It just the longer this movie went on, I was just like, I was starting to do the slasher movie thing, which is why I'm rooting just for people to die. No one has an arc in this movie. And the thing that ticked me off the most about it was the way they set up Ed Skrein dying is Alan Grant's apprentice says, no, we can't kill these dinosaurs. And he's like, what is it, like bad too? He's like, no, it's a sin on your life or something like that. And so none of the dinosaurs die until Zora decides to cap one in the face repeatedly. And that's her parent. And
But it's not a real dinosaur. It's a Mutodon, so it's fine.
No. Yeah, it's completely fine. And so she has no stain on her, and he still wants to get with her.
So there's two things that still I think we need to talk about. One of them is how Loomis, Fierro, Bridgerton, he wants to open source the DNA that they're collecting. He wants the mercenaries to forego the money they've been promised to just open source the DNA so that everyone can make whatever heart disease medicine they can, which is wonderful. Medicare for all, hooray. But it's just dropped into the movie so randomly where there's one point where he's like, what are you going to do with your $10 million? She's like, I'm going to do nothing. And maybe I'll marry a comedian that's on TV or something. I don't know. And then a little later she comes back. She's like, why do you ask what I would do with 10 million or $100 million? What would you do with that money? He's like, I wouldn't take the money. I'd open source it because medicine belongs to everyone, not just one person to profit off of, which again, a solid message, but they don't do anything with it because the pharmaceutical rep's going to get his comeuppance. And there's nothing that happens in the movie that really ever makes you think that they're going to lose the DNA samples or they're going to do something with it, because the movie decides that after they're done with the island excursion, that's the end of the movie. We're done. We're not going to follow through with this DNA thing because maybe it's sequel bait. I don't know. But that part, him going like, oh, open source is way better than private. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, Android is better than Apple, whatever. Like that's pretty much how I walked away from the movie. Is they're like, oh, well, would you rather have an Android that you can modify on your own, or would you rather have an iPhone that everyone else has?
I mean, if you look at the world, apparently we all want the same phone. They all look alike. It's just what's running, and apparently if you don't have that blue check mark next to your text, you're a loser. I don't
so the other thing that I want to talk about, maybe this will be the lighthearted end of the episode, I don't know. How did you feel about the Baby Yoda?
Oh, the Baby Yoda is great, especially
the Baby Yoda's dead.
Oh, okay. Well, first off, I have a question. When we last saw the Baby Yoda, it was sent away because Big T-Rex was going to eat it.
And we have no way of making sure that we could write a way to make this thing survive during the river sequence. So we sent it away.
Even though you could just be like, Baby Yoda's in the backpack and the backpack survives. Okay, fine, whatever.
And we've shown the backpack is magic because when the first time they put the Baby Yoda in the backpack, the flap just falls over, even though it's like rolled up and flipped over. Like Baby Yoda has the force and is just like, my flap's down. And
then it somehow reappears in the gas station, having found her after they've been on the river all day.
It followed the scent of the stale candy, the watered down candy, because
Baby Yoda loves licorice. And I'm like, there's no way they can take care of that baby, that dinosaur. Like, I don't know what that grows up into, but it's going to be big.
It's going to be big. It makes, I can't tell what kind of dinosaur it's supposed to be, because I don't think that the like flat brimmed, not triceratops style of dinosaur, like they don't have the two horns. It's just like the one rhinoceros horn. I don't know what that one's called, but like they made it bipedal as well, or like it's kind of like a hybrid where it can be bipedal, but it also walks around on all fours. I don't know, but I did think of a question that I'll come back to, but it doesn't matter because it's not going to get that big, because it's going to die, because they've set up several times that it cannot survive outside of an equatorial climate.
Yep.
It's going to, even if they go to like California, Southern California, it's going to die. And it's also going to die because Bella has been addicting it to processed sugar and chemicals. That sodium benzoate is just going to kill it. It's going to die. It's probably already in system shock. It's just surviving on the sugar high alone.
Oh, that poor thing. Like, yeah. So this is so dumb. But she's feeding it candy, licorice, to get it to stay with her, while also hiding licorice from Xavier. And the only thing I can think of, can it taste sweet? Because cats can't taste sweet. That's apparently like just some creatures can't taste bitters and sweets. So I'm like, do dinosaurs taste sweet? I mean, why does it like licorice? It just stuck with me of like, why would it want to eat that?
I don't know, but either way, she's dead. Like
Oh,
she's
yeah.
gonna die from system shock because she's being fed a diet of M&Ms and licorice. So the last question I have now that and Snickers, yeah.
Oh, don't forget a Code Red Mountain Dew that's
Code Red
squeezed on
Mountain
fly.
Dew and all the Lay's potato chips. I really did want a bag of some sour cream and onion Lay's chips after this movie, but that's only because I like them and I haven't had them in a while.
No, because that is the primary character trait of Bella and Xavier. Bella's
It's like having a skateboard.
Bella's character trait is that her entire every one of her pockets is filled with candy that she's hiding from Xavier, and Xavier's character trait is anytime he passes by her, he yanks food away from her to eat himself, and then once more.
And then he says inappropriate things to his girlfriend's father as well.
Yes, exactly. Though I did laugh at the peeing scene. It's so stupid.
I knew it was coming. Like it was obvious. It was either going to be he's going to say I don't have to go anymore, or he's going to start up again. Like it was one of those two things where he either pissed himself or he stopped because he was scared, and then he just goes right back to peeing. It was one of those two options, and I was just like, whatever, because that's all you get from the raptors is that pissing scene. There are no other raptors in this movie.
No.
And what happened to the other raptor? Like did it get scared?
Mm-hmm.
It just ran away and left the other one to get eaten. Like, I guess.
Yep. He goes out to have a pee. Apparently decides to walk a quarter mile away. Two raptors see him. Like they share a look of like,
oh, we're going to get him.
Yeah, no, we're going to get him. But what I saw one of them gives a look of like, really, this asshole's just standing there. Okay. It's great because you see them like creeping up. They start getting into the full on like jump sprint thing, and then one of them gets wrecked by
a mutodon. Gets
and the other one apparently
just
they stopped animating the CG4, so it just clipped out of existence. And he was mid pee, got terrified, looks back, there's like nothing left there, and then all of a sudden he starts peeing again. I mean, it was kind of cool, but this movie just, I don't understand why they can't fulfill the promise of the movies being called Jurassic World. Like, can they drop the cloning thing? Sure. But why do they need to just edge them back to the equator? Why do they need to just shove them back onto an island? Why can't they just pick we're doing a Jurassic World movie and it's going to be Jason takes Manhattan with T-Rexes or some crap? Do they think that if you're making a Jurassic Park movie, it has to be in this confined jungle area? You have dinosaurs in others, or you know what? Make Water World with dinosaurs. Let's see more than the Massasaurus. Okay, let's see some other crap on there. Give me a Jurassic World oil refinery 5, where they're stuck in an oil refinery, and you have Massasaurus, you have other big ass creatures attacking it. They have to go down to some abyss dinosaurs. That's what I'm talking about. Because then you have to get in the little escape pods and you have to fight the dinosaurs in them. Something, but if the next one is going to be that they're back on the equator somewhere, they're never going to give us what we want. At least Fallen Kingdom gave us half a movie of a haunted house with dinosaurs. At least
I still prefer
tried.
the first. I prefer the first movie of Fallen Kingdom, where they're trying to outrun the volcano. Like, I was invested in that because especially with that brontosaurus on the dock, like, don't leave me, like, Littlefoot, no.
Yeah, that broke my heart. And then it was like literally that halfway point of the movie, and then it became a haunted house film. I'm like, okay, I guess
at least
this is what we're doing.
They're taking a swing at least. There's no swings in this.
No, there's not even ground rule doubles, man.
Well, you have to swing to get a ground rule double.
That's true.
A walk would be maybe more apropos. But this is like the biggest pass I could give a movie. I would rather watch Madam Web than watch this movie again. At least I get something out of Madam Web. I am legitimately mad at having watched this movie. And maybe part of it is my bias against Comcast and how much I hate them, and just seeing what they've been doing with this franchise sequentially over the last 10 years. It just is so frustrating that they're just reanimating the corpse of this. And it's like playing off of what you said about how they're not fulfilling the promise of the title. What the fuck is Jurassic World Rebirth mean in the context of this movie? What are they rebirthing? The concept of the hybrid dinos? No one cared about it after the I-Rex in Jurassic World, and then they brought it back 2 more times in the 2 sequential movies with the dumbest shit possible by downgrading it from a Rex to a Raptor.
I don't know, and I did have some faith in this movie because David Cope, who depending on who's talking about it, he either wrote the first movie or he co-wrote it. No, he co-wrote the damn movie. Okay, give Michael Crichton some damn credit. He wrote the book. He actually has written screenplays. He directed movies. He wrote the damn movie, and he kept it too faithful. And Cope came through and rewrote parts of it and gave us the finished product. It was a co-production. They both deserve it. I always forget that Cope by himself wrote The Lost World. And he is the one responsible for the entire San Diego sequence.
Again, at least it's a swing.
Yes, at least it's a swing. But this movie doesn't even feel like... I mean, he worked on Mission Impossible. He's a great writer. I don't know what the intention was with this. Like...
It has nothing to say. And it barely fulfills the promise of dinosaur attacks and people surviving and encountering dinosaur attacks. It barely touches on anything to do with the Jurassic movies. If I will give this movie a compliment on anything, it does bait on nostalgia, but it baits on nostalgia through movie making mechanics. It's visual references. It's homages to things. It's not like Nick from New Girl. I'm forgetting his name right now. Peter B. Parker.
First Park was legit.
Yeah, wearing the Jurassic Park shirt, just being like, "This movie's gonna be shit," but we're not disregarding the first movie at all. We're just doing our own thing. Jake something. That's his name. Jake. I can't remember.
New Girl.
Jake New Girl. Yes. Jake B. Parker. At least this movie does something visual with their homages and their references and their callbacks. They don't bait too heavily in verbal references. I'm okay with that. I'm most okay with that, but I don't think there's really anything redeeming about this movie at all. The visual effects suck. I think they're wildly inconsistent as well. The mosasaur looks like a different animal, like from shot to shot, depending on the frame or like the angle that they're shooting at. I don't know what I'm looking at with the mosasaur. The face of the T-Rex at times looks like it belongs more in like a Disney Saturday morning animated show than it does in a Jurassic Park movie. The face just doesn't look right, and it doesn't look consistent. The Mutodons are probably the most consistent thing because that's probably the thing they spent the most money on, because that's the big action sequences at the end of the movie. Everything else just looks bad, and there is some of like the worst green screen I've seen. Like when they're at the top of the Quetzalcoatlus nest.
That was terrible.
But I will give the animators credit, because we see Loomis, he does the lean back when he's about to rappel, and we follow him. Like there's an obvious CGI cut. Like there's a CGI man just falling down the side of the cliff after a certain point. Mm-hmm. But we keep going with that shot. And I'm like, okay, it looks shitty, but at least you stuck to it and you didn't do like a weird cut. I can respect that. There are things that are respectable in the way this movie is made, but from a storytelling standpoint, from a script writing standpoint, from the way the movie is shot. I cannot recommend this movie to anyone ever.
No.
Like this needs to go into the ET hole, the ET video game hole, and just disappear. There's nothing redeeming about this movie other than it's an obvious cash grab.
The one thing that I will give to it is that there were some great moments. There were some cool shots, but it's so weirdly inconsistent. Like you can tell, like Gareth Edwards took over this from the John Wick director at like the last minute because there was apparently creative differences about the scripts, mother crap. John Wick director took off. Gareth Edwards came in and was like, I will deliver you this product. And you can see some of the fun, some of his shots. It's great. But it just feels like a rehash with no new ideas. And there were moments where I was excitable, but that's it. And I will commend Scarlett Johansson. She said she had wanted to be in a Jurassic Park movie for years. And you could tell that she was excited to be on this damn set because for being a mercenary, she's the perkiest mercenary ever.
Who also just lost like her best friend in their last mission, which was like a week ago or something. Like everyone is just like now hearing about it. Like, oh, hey, we heard about this. She's like, yeah, it's okay. I have a new best friend. It's this guy that likes Altoids and dinosaurs.
Yeah. Lest we forget, she also is a terrible person because she missed her mom's funeral. Because she was out working a mission where somebody died, but she was just like happy-go-lucky, perky the entire time. And I'm like, I don't know if that's the way the character was written for you to portray, or that you went, you know what, I'm happy to be in a Jurassic Park World movie, and this is my character now. I am excited to be here. This is fantastic. I'm rappelling off of a cliff. I'm shooting a gun. I'm kicking something in the face.
She's getting a paid work vacation to go to Costa Rica or Hawaii or wherever they film these.
Yeah, like this is my life. I'm excited to be here. And you know what? Good for you. Because after a while I was like, good on her. This is great.
And you know what? I will give this movie credit as well for its restraint. Because Scarlett Johansson has a normal looking body. She's not walking around in a bikini. She's not walking around in a cutoff. Never do they like expose her skin or anything. Like she looks like a normal, healthy person. Mahershala Ali looks ripped as hell, but they keep him in a mostly normal shirt. Like the sleeves are pretty damn tight, but like he's got the arms. Like they're gonna make any shirt look small. Like I think the most grotesque anything that we have is Ed Skrein's extraordinarily tight shirt that screams, "I'm gonna die soon."
Well, was also Teresa, the I'm off to college daughter. She does get wet t-shirts multiple times.
But she's wearing layers too.
Yeah, she is wearing layers. But I was just like, have you been on this set without somebody first throwing a bucket of water on you yet?
Yeah, she is constantly just soaked.
I'm sad, man. I was actually hoping this would be good, but I mean, it's gonna make a crap ton of money. They're gonna announce a second one in 12 minutes.
Jurassic Park revival.
Yeah, Jurassic World Regeneration or something. It has nothing.
Yes, because they're gonna bring those samples over and people are gonna start mutating into dinosaurs because they use the dino DNA to cure heart disease.
Dino DNA. If they bring back Mr. DNA to explain
Mr. DNA.
Yeah, if they bring it back to explain why people who like no longer have heart disease are turning into mosasaurs, I will be excited. Be like, yay.
Jurassic World Regeneration, lock it in. What do you think the next Jurassic movie is going to be called? Let us know in the Discord. Alex, let everyone know where they can join in on the conversation.
You can join in the conversation at tsmackpod@gmail.com. That is where our Discord is. There's also a link to click down below. And please let us know why we are wrong about this movie and that it's actually the third best Jurassic World movie. I don't know. Listen, it's
That's
you can't pass.
I don't even know if it's the third best Jurassic World movie. Like it's so bad. As Alex said, you can join the Discord using the link in our episode description. You can follow us on all the social media platforms at Talking Smack Pod. We're on Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Email us your thoughts, questions, reviews of whatever we're covering or the podcast, or just let us know what you're doing in the nerd circles of things. You're reading some comic books, you want to recommend stuff to us, hit us up at tsmackpod@gmail.com. Thank you to Leo Allen for our musical themes. Thank you to Beppo for our avatars, Retro Ale Studios for our Ricky avatars. Thank you to Joey Fitz for your help on our thumbnails when needed. Alex, thank you so much for suffering through this so-called movie. Jake B. New Girl's name is Jake Johnson. Came back to me. Why does my brain do this to me where I'm literally reading my script to close out the episode and then my brain goes, it's Jake Johnson, by the way.
He remembered his little tag from the Tom Cruise mummy movie and starring Jake Johnson.
You give me cookie, I give you cookie. You give me cookie, I give you cookie. Please subscribe on your podcatcher of choice. Hit that like button on YouTube. Hit subscribe as well. Thank you for listening. Take care. If you've seen Jurassic World, please join the Discord and join in our trauma. We can help each other. Alex, what should people be watching?
You gotta watch that Star Trek while downing some Mountain Dew and the Snickers.
Who loves T-Smack?
I love T-Smack. Is it true? Mm-hmm. I do. Ooh.